All right, everyone, welcome to the Fanward Podcast, where we talk about why you fans love what you love. You know Fanward as for the fan clubs where we connect you with your favorite celebrities. We have Austin St. John, Walter Jones, your OG Power Rangers, Holland, your Banshee Queen, from Lydia Martin from Teen Wolf, and James Maslow from the Nickelodeon show Big Time Rush. But most importantly, what keeps Fanward going is you fans. You are the lifeblood. You are the force. You are the crazy to everything that we love. And so we want to flip the script, hand the mic over to you, and talk about why you love what you love. And today, Cody Redd, he's like, I love this idea because he's like, let's talk about how do you find your creative inspirations. We're all creatives. And first thing, as you hear this, drop in the comments because we really want to give shout outs. We want to know your name if you're willing to share it. We want to find out how do you get creative? What inspires you? And what deep holes into the internet do you go, or crazy tangents into music, or random shit that lights that spark in you? Because there is no set way. I've asked this, and Cody can dive into this. I can't tell you how many emails have been sent in to Austin and Walter, to James, to Holland, asking them, how do you fix creative blocks? How do you, get into the headspace? And they've all said there is no set way. You don't know how it's going to. Everyone has their process, but also there is no process. So Cody Redd, everyone. So as you know, if you don't know Cody yet, you will know his face continually because we will be here together forever. No, 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 no. And Cody started out as a member who gave amazing feedback and advice, and thank God came along and was like, your graphics are shit, and was like, I can help you. But we met because of Powermorphicon, one of those things that have brought all of us together. So many fans in the comments can drop below right now, and we've met it because of PMC. So, Cody, go ahead, take it.
You know what? They always told me that the Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles are a waste of time and that'd never amount to anything.
And you're like, and here we are. Listen, get this podcast to be like, we want to hit like millions of views, because for all the people out there that make comments like that.
Look, you know how many people are just like that, though, that
Yes.
came from that. And like all the way through school, we got told, it's all stupid stuff. You're wasting your time. No, dude, you're not wasting your time. You're building what we're talking about today. You're getting those creative inspirations, whatever they may be. I became a black belt in multiple martial arts because of Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles. Your inspirations matter. Don't ever let anybody tell you otherwise.
Well, no, it's like, it's interesting because I've lived in LA for almost 12 years now and worked in the food industry. And every single time someone would ask me, they're like, oh, are you here for entertainment? Are you here to be an actress? I'm like, hell no. I'm like, I hate being in front of the camera. I have no desire. This is not what I want to do. I just like to hang out and get to know people. And I have always worked behind the scenes. And then this podcast come about. And you could have never told Cody and I, who hate being on camera, but we love talking with fans and each other. And so all of our hours and hours of conversations turned into us going, you know what? We've Zoomed for years now.
You know what? I just got a really good idea.
Yeah.
We both hate being on camera.
Yes. Oh, no. And I hate
Maybe we need a proxy.
No.
We need an avatar so we don't have to do it ourselves.
No.
She doesn't like Muppets. I know that.
I hate. We're going to do an episode, one on why I am afraid and hate anytime. I hate. You know what? You know why? Okay. You know what the resentment comes from? We're just going to say this before we jump into, while we're all talking, you guys just keep writing in the comments how you find creative inspiration. And if it's from this podcast, yay. Why I hate it? Because I could not watch any TV shows. I had this friend, the Weingartners, and I remember going over to their house, and and I would hang out with the older sister Megan, and her younger sister Jesslyn would be watching Sesame Street. And I don't know why, every time I go through, I remember them seeing Sesame Street. And because I didn't have a TV, I wanted to like watch it and I would like come down the stairs and kind of
Right.
watch it. And I'm like, oh, that's TV. That's like people are watching. And I'm like, I fucking hate this.
That's hilarious.
It was so disturbing and I hated it. I'm like, but I would watch it because I'm like, it's TV. This is what people are watching. And I also like wanted to feel like I knew something, but I'm like, I hate this so
It's just
much.
a bunch of Muppets. This is what TV
It
is,
I'm
Muppets.
like, this is what I get. Like I'm like, oh, you go to people's house and you get to like sneak and watch something. And I'm like, it was always Sesame Street. And I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I hated the characters. I hate that the fact that it was real people and fake. I didn't understand it.
Hey, we're gonna
And it
have a puppet
disturbed
episode.
me. It like honestly, it was out of resentment that I'm like, this is all the fucking thing you're gonna watch. Like, listen, if I'm gonna sneak and get to watch something, let me watch. Anyways, I didn't understand it. And it honestly, it just threw me off in such a weird way. And I think I just resented the fact that I couldn't watch it. And then it was just weird. And then I missed out. And whatever I didn't miss out, anyways, that's all I got to experience.
Well,
Thank guys. Put something
it's
else on the TV.
it's funny that you say that because since we're talking about creative inspiration today, Jim Henson is actually one of my biggest creative inspirations.
I
The
know the
guy who
name.
created the guy who created the Muppets, the guy who created Sesame Street. He was Kermit's puppeteer and voice actor. Created
Really?
the movie The Dark Crystal. Created the movie The Labyrinth. He is one of my probably top 3 creative inspirations
Oh my
in
goodness.
my entire life.
No.
Because I understand because I'm
Yeah.
terrified of ventriloquist puppets, like
Oh,
the hard
interesting.
ones, the
Yes.
hard ones with the mouths and they're terrified of them.
See, those
But
don't bother me as much. It's the
oh
fuzzy
my
ones
God,
that
you're
look
a
like
freak.
I know. And I don't know if it's because I used to collect so many stuffed animals and I believed they were real. Like
Right. Yeah.
my friend like convinced me that they were real. And I had
Yeah.
about 30 stuffed animals and they all had to be on my bed and they all had to sleep with me because I felt like I couldn't betray one. So there'd be times I wouldn't sleep in my bed. I would sleep on the floor because I couldn't figure out which one to put to make room for
Yeah.
myself.
Dude, I get it because I was a stuffed animal kid. I still love
I still
love
love stuffed
stuff.
animals.
I love stuff like I've got
Oh,
2 stuffed turtles. I've got a stuffed
yeah.
lizard. I've got all kinds of. I love stuffed
Oh,
animals.
I
I
love
just do.
stuffed animals.
I've even got a giant stuffed penis. It's
No,
like
I love you
yeah,
so much.
it's like 4 feet long. We use it as a body pillow. But anyway, um, back to the creative
This is why you're
inspiration.
my favorite person.
This all ties into how different people are
Yeah.
because the fact that I found so much creative inspiration in Jim Henson and you found fear is a very interesting thing.
Yes, and honestly, this is why that we're gonna hit back. This is why the podcast is what it is because you have the two dichotomies, and neither is
Yes.
right or wrong. We're both just
Right.
like one is like fuck yes, the other one's like fuck no, and I'm like I'm so happy for you. So, tell me why. Dive
Ain't
into
nothing but a heartache. You know I'm gonna do that every time.
every single time. You know what? It hits every single time.
It's
Everyone's like,
because we're always so in sync. Put that one in a reel. Yep, there you go. There's your Instagram reel for the week.
we are, and that's all, folks. Nothing else needs to be
this
said.
week's episode. No, okay, so
Okay.
Jim Henson, his creativity knew absolutely no bounds. And this is why I love puppetry. I've loved puppetry my entire life. The first time I ever remember having a show and tell, a show and
Okay.
tell day at
Yes.
school,
Yes.
I had a puppet and I took it to school with me. It was Rolf from the Muppets. He's the dog that plays the piano. I had a full-size puppet of him. First time I ever remember having a show and tell, I took it there. I got below the teacher's desk and I did a puppet show with Rolf. I was like first grade. Ever since then, I've just been in love with puppets. So going on the creative inspiration part, when I was still with my ex-wife, we went to the Atlanta Puppetry Museum, which was just, oh my God, just one of the most amazing things ever. And while we were there, they had a labyrinth and dark crystal like showcase where they had all of the like on-screen outfits and used puppets and everything. Dude, by the time I left there, my inspiration levels were like through the roof because Jim Henson was one guy. He worked with a lot of other people. He worked with George Lucas from Star Wars. He worked with let's see, was it Spielberg? I think it was Spielberg. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. They created the Labyrinth and Dark Crystal movies, which were the first ever full-length puppet films. And all of the puppets were different. Every single one of them. They had one puppet that was 16 feet tall. They
Oh
had
my
one puppet
goodness.
that took 8 people to use. They had puppets with animatronic faces. They had puppets with little people in them. And what I realized is that to have a creative mind that could go to all those different shapes, all those different sizes, is like incredible to me.
Yeah.
And like, and I didn't realize until I was older why puppetry inspired me so much and why Jim Henson was like the perfect creator in a lot of ways. But it was because he had these little worm puppets, these little worms. They weren't any longer than a finger. He used them on Sesame Street.
Oh,
And
I
they were
remember.
nothing, yeah, and they were nothing but two little metal sticks, tiny little metal sticks with a worm on them. So this is how the puppet worked. But he also had Big Bird.
Yeah.
Now, Big Bird, this is not the puppet episode. We're going to have a puppet episode.
I
I'm
know.
talking about creative inspiration. So he had little worms on a stick, but he also had Big Bird, an 8-foot tall yellow bird with a guy named Carol Spinney inside. Carol Spinney would hold his arm up like this the entire time he was recording. He had no eye holes. Okay. So he had a screen taped to his chest.
Oh my God.
He would look down at the screen so he could see where he was going while talking with the puppet head way up here, while controlling his arm, the puppet's arm.
He had to have the worst rotator cuff issues. I am literally, the massage therapist in me is like going, what the fuck happened to his shoulder and his joints?
It gets worse. Oh. So Big Bird's favorite hobby was roller skating.
No.
So he was controlling an 8-foot tall puppet with his hand up here, with a screen down here. He had no eye holes. He was controlling the puppet's hand, and he was roller skating while doing it all.
This is giving me anxiety.
And he did this until he was 80 years old.
Okay, I now know why. Also, I hate puppets, but I love this story for you. I love this for you. I'm claustrophobic.
Oh yeah, I get it. Yeah.
It is. I'm literally like almost like.
Yeah.
You telling that has given me like so much. I'm so happy. Okay, we need to make this about you, not me.
It needs to be about both of us.
No, but but I think about that for like, that is amazing.
Yeah, and ridiculous.
And ridiculous, but that is what inspiration does. It makes people do absolutely like, oh, I'm going to be in this position for the rest of my life in a claustrophobic, oh my God, in a claustrophobic thing.
For probably 8 hours a day.
And something sweaty and hot, things that people would normally go, no, I'll never do that. But that, I think that's also what's so cool about, and I don't know, it's like, I'm not saying people don't understand the work that goes into things, but I'm like, the behind the scenes, when you realize we always call it the unsexy aspects of creation, where it's like, oh, you get to see the end product and you're like, oh my goodness, that is amazing. But these are the behind the scenes, like being in that suit, like all the work that goes into it, that everyone goes, oh my, like I go, that gives so anxiety. I can't imagine that being the day in, day out of my life. How could that bring someone joy? But then you see the end result and it's like, oh my goodness, look at all the people, the things that changes lives. Like that to me is actually, as weird as it is, even though I hate puppets, it's very inspiring because I'm like, wow, something so uncomfortable, and while doing it, probably smelled horrible, probably didn't have good air circulation, your body hurt, like all in a sense, the pain to make something that literally changed millions and millions and millions and made millions and billions probably of dollars.
Oh yeah, Sesame Street.
But it was like the most uncomfortable, but it came from what? Someone willing to do something that me and my brain goes, that makes no sense. But that's what creation is. It makes no sense.
But and I mean, even if you think about it, like Big Bird's one of the most iconic characters in the world. Would he have still been as iconic as he is if he had been just a cartoon? Probably not.
Dude, they wouldn't do it today. I honestly, this is my question. Would people allow people to do that today because of laws, because of labor laws, because of, putting someone in a suit for so long?
Hey, Big Bird's still around. They're still doing Sesame Street.
Wow.
They still have puppets. It's all, I mean, it's not all puppets. They do have
Yeah.
CGI, but they still have all the puppets. They're all on there. It's like, it's still going. And I mean, puppetry's been around forever, but like, it's Sesame Street's a perfect example of that dichotomy of creative inspiration, where one person can take something from it and
Yeah.
so just say, "Oh, that's a big yellow bird for kids."
Yeah.
Somebody else goes, "There's a dude in there,
Yeah.
and he's working his ass off for like 60 years straight," and it's like it's incredible. Like, it's
Dude, I want to
unbelievable.
interview him. I want to be like, what the fuck was your
He
why?
he, he died recently, but
Oh,
yeah.
see,
I
I'm like,
mean,
I want to, that's the kind of like, I'm going, I want to know the people that are in the suits
right,
and going, why were you willing to do this? What about this character? What about you taking on this role and this job was worth it to you? But
I mean,
that's my obsession with whys. I'm going because I'm like, this
right.
changed someone. So why were you willing to do something so that I would never do?
For
I mean,
me
there's
personally, like, first off, he obviously had a creative desire to do it, but imagine being him and knowing the impact you're having on millions of kids. Like, you are the symbol of happiness for millions and millions of children across the entire planet.
yeah, but I'm like, that's why when it comes down to what we do, I think it's for me like understanding not just the why that I'm doing it, but loving what you do, having that why because there's going to be days you're exhausted and you don't want to get up and doing it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
reminding what is the end goal? What is the purpose of this? Because keeping that vision in mind is what makes these huge brands. It's what makes these fandoms like, where you have something where it just changed so many people's lives because
Right.
one person, two people, three people, like, they agreed and were like, we understand what we're trying to achieve here. And to me, I'm
Yeah.
like, then that's the absolute in a sense. Hey, this is our goal. No matter what we feel like we're going to get through it. This is, anyways. I'm going to. This is just fast. That's just really fascinating to me because
But
I'm like,
no,
oh, I actually have a deeper respect versus when I looked at it going, why would anyone watch this? But then I'm
right.
like, dude, why would anyone do this? And then I want to know the why someone would do that
But
because that's
but
amazing.
what you're saying is both the strength and the weakness of creative inspiration. I
Hmm.
think that's why a lot of like big movie companies, like big studios, don't do so great in
Yeah.
the public's eye anymore. It's
Hmm.
because their creative inspiration is no longer write a good story, make good characters, um, give good animation. It's just it's always there's always some bottom line or bottom dollar, as
Yeah.
opposed to
What
like
is our
Jim
end goal?
Henson, right? Like Jim Henson, for instance, like he did that stuff because he loved it. It was never about money for him, especially after the Muppet Show took over because
Yeah.
he was, rolling in money. And it was like what it was always just like Sesame Street was always about the kids. It was on public, it was on public broadcasting system, which means it was funded by donations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you're not talking, I mean, it's a huge empire now, and so is the Jim Henson Company, but you're not talking about doing this stuff for work or for money.
No.
You're talking about doing it because of the smile on a kid's face, or I mean, I used to go to like live shows that they would put on like in like theaters of Sesame Street when I was a kid. It was so much fun. Me and my mom and my grandmother, we used to go all the, like, every time they had brought one to the nearest town, we would always go. But it was like, I remember how that made me feel. And it's like,
What
and
did
that,
it make you
and
feel like? I mean, I'm just curious. Like,
pure
what was like?
joy, like just complete, pure joy. Like, just, there's never, the worst part was leaving. Like, the worst part
Hmm,
was it being over and knowing that I was going home. My dad would be there. You
yeah.
know, it's funny how he keeps coming to me. I do not hate my dad, by the way. I
No,
love my
no,
dad.
but
I just don't want to talk to him.
no, but it's to me, it's like I was just when you were talking, I'm like, I mean, we met because you were volunteering because you saw something with Fanward. You're like, oh, I can connect here, and it's weird. And this isn't like a plug for Fanward. It's more like actually even understanding. You know, we started the idea in 2015, and we've worked as servers. We're still working as servers to make up to pay the bills and things like that because. And a lot of people look at us. I mean, I had someone the other day be like, "Yep, there's several times I'm going, yep, Fanward's not going to work. It's not going to make it, and I'm like, it's not about that. I'm like, I
Right.
have spent way too much time in here to ever quit because it's the community, and it's my why has always been like growing up in a cult and then leaving that. And the biggest aspect of, kind of like you're saying, like it could be with your dad or anyone else, like you may lose something that was hard. Like there was aspects of the cult that was really hard, but the deepest part of it was community. And get inspired by
Yeah.
bringing people together and building safe and welcoming communities where, because that human connection, like we're such, and it's in our blood to form communities and groups and things like that. And I'm like, I want to see something where people find safety, and it doesn't matter what you believe or what you like or how you like something. You can have a commonality, and you can come from any religion, any political background. Like that's what I love also about, honestly, like I love in-person things, but what I've come to find that I love about online, it does give people, because I see behind the scenes where every one of our fans are coming from. And I see all the different cultures and backgrounds that typically wouldn't be in the same room together.
Right.
Some of the religions wouldn't be in the same room together. But for
Yep.
a day, for an hour, for 5 minutes, they don't have to be what they were raised. They get to just be a fan.
Right.
And that's what I love. That's what hit me about Fanward, is like, I want to create a space where it doesn't matter what your nationality, how you, what you call yourself, like how you associate, whatever. I'm not even saying it right. Anyways, but it's like, it doesn't matter your religion, your culture, whatever it is that everyone around you defines you as, basically, or how you define yourself.
Right.
For that moment, you can just be a fan, and everyone gets to have something and get to share that space. And it makes us all just human together.
Yeah.
And to me,
And
I'm like, I will do this. I will work as many jobs as I need to keep doing this because I believe in it. But it's so funny
right.
because I'm not thinking about it from the creative aspect. I'm just going, no, I believe in this mission, even if I'm working 102 hours a week. And people are like, you're insane. I'm like, yeah, but I can't do anything else.
Dude, it's just like me with my writing. It's like, I don't want to do all the work. I just want to I just want to give you a really cool book. Like I
Yeah.
want to write a book. I want to see it finished. I want to feel its weight in my hands. I want to do this and sniff it. I
Yes.
love
Yes.
sniffing
Oh my
books.
God.
Can't help it.
I love going
But
to old bookstores and smelling books.
and just
Yes.
oh yeah,
Yes.
it's a good
Yes.
stuff.
I
It's
love
magic.
bookstores. I love
But
bookstores.
um, but that's not what we care. It isn't about the work. Is the work necessary? Yes. But the inspiration, the end goal
Yeah.
is just the part that you focus on. It's like anytime when I'm writing and I'm like, oh, and just keep
Yes.
typing away,
Yes.
it's because I know at the end I'm going to finish this story and everything's going to be all right. And it's all going to be worth it. And I think that was probably what Carol Spinney was, thinking. So I looked it up. He was he was blah, 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 blah. He was
Blah, blah.
words. He was Big Bird from 1969 until 2018. He did Big Bird every day for dozens of hours a day. Now, you could say it's because he loved puppetry, which he did. He loved puppets since he was a kid. You could say it was the fact that he was like an Emmy Award winner, stuff like that. Or, but I just don't see that. I don't see you doing something like that just because you
Mm-mm.
like puppets. There's got to be some other driving creative force behind it. Just like when I write, it isn't just because I want to pump out a book. It's because inside of me, I have a story I have to tell, even if it's not relevant. Like even if it's not relevant to something I need to say, like as a human being,
Yeah.
there's still a story I want to tell. And there's that creative inspiration that you find almost anywhere, and it comes out however your body decides it comes out, whether it be dance, whether it be music, whether it be, ukulele or guitar or trumpet, whether it be martial arts, because martial arts is absolutely an art. It has art in it, whether it be puppetry, whether it be drawing, whether it be painting, whatever it is, we all have a story that we
Hmm.
have to get out. And I think his was just Big Bird. I think that was his story.
Well, I have a question. So, because there's a statement they say we create out of trying to solve a problem in our own life or trying to solve a problem in someone we love's life. Like we create from that space. But I'm curious, do you think, because I was thinking, I'm like, do I create because I love something or because I'm trying to heal or solve a pain that then turns into me absolutely loving it because my own creation healed me? Like, does something, I don't know does everything root from us going into a space of escape that becomes escape that heals? I don't know. My brain went there because I was like, I heard that statement. I'm like, I can see that in some of my work, but
I don't know if I don't know if I 100% believe it,
yeah.
because sometimes you just want to make noise, you know?
Mhm.
Like sometimes you just want to write a story about elves and there's no reason for it. You know.
Yes.
Now there might be part of you in that story that you're not aware of that you're getting out, but I don't think there's always an intent behind something.
Oh, I love that.
Like I always hear people say that, oh, every story is political. No, it's not. Not every story has an agenda behind it. You choose what agendas you put into it.
Yeah.
And if you choose not to put an agenda to it,
You still
it's up
chose.
to the it's up right, you made the choice, but it's up to the reader to determine what agendas they see in it.
Oh, I love that.
Which is why I don't believe in writing theme, despite a lot of writers online saying your story should always have a theme. I think the theme is up to the reader. I think you determine as a reader what you get out of it. Because if I tell you that my story is about family drama and you have no family drama, you have no reason to read my story. Now, if I tell you my story is about this man and his mother who are trying to fight off an empress, I don't know, I'm making shit up as I go, then you can say, oh, I see the family drama here. And I think at least as a writer, even in my author's note of my first book, I said there are no agendas here, nothing political, nothing social. I'm just telling a story. Take it how you want it. And I don't think we always create to heal ourselves. We may be doing that innately, but I don't believe that creative inspiration
starts with that.
Right. I don't believe it's necessary. I don't believe it's necessary at all. And I don't believe everything created has a reason beyond just, I want to make a pretty picture, or I want to write a silly joke, or I want to puppet a puppet for 60 years.
I love it.
I don't think it needs a reason. I think that's what's beautiful about art, is that it could have a reason or it could have absolutely none. And then the people who view that art get to determine the reason. Now,
that's beautiful.
I went to an art show once and this guy was standing next to his painting. And I want to ask you what you think of it, because this is a creative inspiration thing. And I'm just remembering this just now. So this guy's painting was a bunch of people, and then in the middle there was one person. All around him, all the people were painted white. The person in the middle was painted red. What do you derive from that?
Oh, wow. Sacrifice.
Okay, so see, here's what I derive from it, because that makes sense. I thought my thought was a bunch of white people, like people painted white, and one guy in the middle painted red. And what I got from that was the guy in the middle is screaming, trying to get everybody's attention, trying to say something, trying to be seen, trying to be heard, and not a single person was red like
white
he was.
Noise.
Yeah. Nobody, he was standing right in the middle, bright ass red, and not a single person had. You would think if at least one person heard him, they would be red too. So the author or the artist actually came up to me. He's like, what do you get from it? And I didn't know he was the artist at the time. And I told him, he's like, that's exactly right. He's like, you're the only person that's gotten it right. And I was like, well, how many answers have you gotten? Because I just figured it was like 2 or 3 answers. He's like, every person gives a different answer.
Wow.
Every single person. And it wasn't a massive piece. It wasn't ornate. It was just like comic. I'm not saying it wasn't good, because it was good. It got an emotional reaction out of me, and that's the purpose of art. So what I got from it was my own personal interpretation.
Yes.
Because I had experienced that feeling.
Yeah.
Of standing there and screaming and not being heard or seen.
Yeah.
And he said, every single person who's come up to it has been wrong. about my purpose. He was said everybody's been wrong about my purpose of it.
Yeah.
But you understood the exact purpose I had for it. So it wasn't that I was right. It's just that I knew what
you both had a shared experience. You both,
right.
That's kind of like why I think you can build fandoms around fans like Power Rangers or WWE or different, because you all go,
Exactly.
we have this common, we may have come to it in different ways, and we may have different aspects that, brought us here. But the common thing is like, we all see what it gives, that core thing. And for you and that artist, it was like, you guys had a shared experience, and the art meant the same thing to you.
What he said, the most common answer he got a couple of other times was that the red person was like bad, like angry, rude, and everybody was just ignoring him because of it. But what he said was, he is yelling, he is rageful, he's screaming, but it's not anger. It's more of a fear or a longing. Yeah. And he was like, he just said, you're the first person who has that shared experience, in so many words. But it just like you said, it's like, that's why our niches are important. And that's why our inspirations are important, because he could have been inspired by something completely different when he painted that. And I would have been the guy that was wrong. Yeah. And just because we had that shared experience, because, I used to scream all the time trying to get my dad to stop being him, Yes. So it was like, I understood that feeling. And it was like, that day I was the guy who was on the same level as him. And our creative inspiration in that moment was the exact same. And that's like so freaking cool to me, because you probably had 1,000 people come in there that day, and almost every single one of them gave a different answer. It's because we all
but to find someone, to define someone, I think that's what's so cool about art is, everyone can look at it differently, and they all could come in and enjoy the piece. But then also there's those people that you meet within the space where you're going, oh my goodness, we both resonate with this, and you and I are the same. Like, you see each other. It's like just like when you make eye contact with someone and you feel like you just know them. Like, you're going, oh, I like, I've met those kind of people where I'm just like, I don't know why, but I know you. Like, there's some level to us that has so many matching things, or whatever it is, the frequency. It's like, oh, like, I get you, you get me. And sometimes you don't even need the words. It's just like, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, dude, when I was living in Knoxville still, I met my friend Gabe that way. I was at Kroger. I was walking through Kroger. I had a Dragon Ball shirt on. Yep. He had a Green Ranger. Shout out to our Power Ranger fans. He had a Green Ranger Christmas sweater on. It was the ugliest thing I'd ever seen.
I love it.
But I walked up to him. I'm like, dude, I didn't know him or nothing. I walked up to him like, dude, I love your sweater. He looked at my shirt and he goes, dude, I love your shirt. So I go off and I start shopping. He goes his way. And then about 10 minutes later, I'm like, I think I'm going to go back and like get his phone number. So I start walking his direction because I want to find him before he leaves to get his phone number. I see him walking my direction, and we stop. And I'm like, hey, dude, I was like, dude, I just wanted to get your phone number. He's like, that's what I was coming to do.
Oh my God.
So we did that. And then we find out we're both learning Japanese at the same time. We both want to go to Japan. He actually went to Japan last year, all over Instagram, everything. Dude, we both like Japanese rap and all this other stuff, Ninja Turtles, Dragon Ball, Power Rangers, just because of a shirt. Yep. Like that's that inspiration. It's like a friendship created simply because of something that we shared in common. Yes. It's like, I mean, how many friends have I made since I started getting with Fanward? Bobby, Robert, I've got Burkhalter, like 400. I'm not going to call Burkhalter a fan. I'm not going to give him that much attention, but, but I'm kidding. But like, it's that easy, dude. It's like we all get on these levels where it's like, oh, I'm inspired by that too. Yeah. Oh, really? Me too. Oh, I guess we're friends forever now. Like, I have a friend who I met. He lives in Australia. His name's Stacy. We've been friends now for 14 years. Never met in person. Yeah. Ever. Never video chatted. Nothing. Just messages on Facebook. We've been friends for 14 years, all because we were as part of the same MMA Facebook group 14 years ago, and we've been friends ever since. I consider him one of my best friends. Okay, so that's the other thing I want, while you guys are listening, to also put in the comments. Like, I would love to know, like, shout out, like, tag a friend. I think it'd be so cool. Yeah. Tag a friend that you met
in a fandom or met in a random way, or if you
Yes.
have never met them in real life, but you met them through like a fandom community, shout out the community. Cause to me, I think that'd be so cool to see how many people have met someone online and maybe have never even seen them in real life, but have been friends with them for years
Yeah.
because of that. And that's like, it was the same thing I went to when I first moved to LA. There was a business conference and I walked in. It was probably around 3,000 people. It was like a massive conference center. And I walked in and I saw this girl. She was like, looked like a bodybuilder, but she had crazy ass dreads. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Us.
I know
Love
you
that.
have a thing. I know you love dreads. And her name is Amy Miller. I'm going to give a shout out to Amy. Anyways, I looked at her and I was like, I want to be her friend. I just
Mm.
knew it in an instant. No kidding. When I walked in and I said that in my mind, she turned. She was across the conference. She turned, looked at me, pointed at me, and said, "Sit right here."
That's so cool.
We walked in. I walked there. She had two seats beside her. We looked at each other and we hugged each other, and we're like, "I don't know why, but I love you." And it was the weirdest thing. And we hung out the whole conference. And then she helped me get on my health journey. Like, cause I was just starting like my mental health journey of like trying to slowly wean off my medication. This is not a plug to get off no one get off your medication. This is not a plug to
Right.
do that. Not promoting that. But I had my own personal reasons. But she started me on that journey, but we bonded through our just love of wanting to like learn business. And I was a massage therapist and she was a yoga teacher in health and fitness. And we bonded over like wanting to be on a mental health journey. And that was like how we connected. And it was wild because we were just like, and she reached out the other day and she's just like, she's traveling, she's doing her thing, she just goes all over the world. But it was just that moment that you're like, you knew there was that one thing. And that's what I love about relationships or communities. But this is like what art does. This is what community is. But I do want to ask you, because I'm like curious, if you could pick like random inspirations, things that have inspired you that just are off the norm, like that have led you down a route of inspiration. We mentioned puppets. What are some other things that you could just be like, oh, this is what inspires me or gets me creative that people don't, because I always hear like someone go, oh, the top things to help you hack your creative brain. I don't even, yeah, that could be for that person. I mean, but really it's like, I
It's
never would have thought puppets.
that's like shooting a shot in the dark. Like you're gonna hit somebody and get it
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
but I mean, you already know about Abigail. Like
Yes.
I've got an entire 4-book series based on the fact that I saw a picture of Alexandra Daddario when I didn't even know who she was, and I
Yep.
just thought she was so pretty that I needed to write a book about her. And now she's
Yes.
got a 4-book series.
Yes.
Like, and I mean, I told you about sitting on the toilet the other day and getting the idea for an entire 2-book series while on the pooper, and it's like, dude, I think you can get inspiration from anywhere. And I think what it is when you meet those friends, like those people like that, I think there's a creative spark.
Yeah.
Like there's just like this thing that goes off. Like neither one of you know it,
No.
but there's just this thing. It's kind of like when you see a person, like if you're a metalhead or you're a K-pop stan, which I am. I'm both of those actually.
I love that.
If I'm out in public and I see somebody with a Twice shirt on, that Twice is a K-pop group.
Okay.
My K-pop group. Those are my girls.
Yours.
Twice my girls. Yes, mine. If I go out in public and I see somebody with a Twice shirt on, I'm gonna freak. I'm probably gonna scream a little bit. I'm probably gonna giggle. If I see somebody with a Slipknot shirt on, I'm right there
Yes.
with that too. And it's just like with professional wrestling. That's another creative spark. I see somebody with a Triple H shirt on, I'm freaking out. Triple H is my boy. If I see somebody with a Power Ranger shirt on, those are creative sparks. Those aren't just visual cues. There's something there. Like there's an inspiration there that tells you, I want to be this person's friend. I at least want to shake their hand,
Yes.
because you're seeing something there that you're not seeing with other people. And that's the genuine human connection that I think every single one of us seeks, like searches for,
Yep.
which is why this podcast is so important, because that's what we're trying to do. And it's like, dude, I even get excited just seeing somebody in a Sesame Street shirt. Like,
Well, this is like, and this is why I want to hit like what you just said, because I'm like sitting here listening to you, and this is what I love about humanity. You can't put anyone in a box. That's what we keep saying in the podcast. You just listed, which I love, and I'm like, honestly, I'm just like, when you were talking, I was like, this is why I love Cody. I just love that you say all these things
One of the
because
reasons. This is
one of the
one of the
reasons why, because most people try to define themselves going, oh, I'm this fan. And so my whole world is this identity, but they'll never tell, oh, that I am into Slipknot and K-pop, that I love Sesame Street and pro wrestling.
Right, writing erotic horror
I love writing erotic horror
and playing with puppets.
and play with puppets. Like, to me, this is fucking humanity.
Right.
Why? And we try to, like, people feel like, oh, if I'm associated with this thing, then that group could only know me as that. They can't also know I'm this other. I'm like, this is the facets. We're like diamonds. Like, we're so many angles.
Yes.
Like, you can't, like, lights just fucking shining through all of us. And it's just like, just switch. Like, there is no, I just love this. This is, to me, I'm like, beautiful.
I think there's a sound reason for
You are
it.
a beautiful human being.
Yeah, beautiful.
Beautiful.
I think there's a sound reason people do that. And I think it comes back to the community part.
Yes.
If you're a member of a Slipknot community, now metalheads are usually really, really chill. Like,
Yeah.
they
Really?
look not chill. Oh yeah. They look not chill, but metalheads are some of the chillest people you'll ever see. They wouldn't care if you listen to K-pop. Nobody's gonna give a damn.
Then we need to start a metalhead group.
Hell yeah.
All right. We need to get some metalheads,
Dude,
guys.
Actually, right after this point, I can talk about how metal has inspired me, because I actually made an entire 1.5 hour long video about how music inspires me creatively. I'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
But I think there's a sense of community that comes with being just this.
Yes. No, I understand.
And we see this a lot politically and socially too. We choose a group. We choose left or right. We choose, straight or gay. We choose black or white. There is no middle, because if we're in the middle, we're not in the community. We're not a part of anything. Yeah. And I think, and I'm not saying that wanting to be a part of a community is a bad thing. It's not it. My point is that we pigeonhole ourselves into saying, this is my identity and I am nothing outside of it. Yeah. And I think that's a huge part of what's going on with all the negative energy now. It's like, we just say, this is what I am. If you're not a part of that, I don't want nothing to do with you, but I have these people. And once again, being the part of a community is not a bad thing. That's what we do here. But we pigeonhole ourselves to where I like playing Pokemon, but I also like, writing. I like puppets, but I also like martial arts. I like video games, but I also like, whatever. But we all are. We're all like that. But publicly, we say, this is what we are, and this is only what we are. Yeah. We don't want to be multifaceted, because that makes it harder for people to find where the light's coming from. Because, when you shine a,
well, no, that's like, it's like, I'm reading, I've read it several times. It's Finding Happiness in a Troubled World by the Dalai Lama. And he breaks down this whole thing of like why community is so important. But he says it starts out, someone is looking for a community. And so that they find a community, and it goes, oh, it's you and I.
Right.
And that's where it starts. And the spark starts. And he says, then the community grows, and then they go, oh, it's us against them.
Right.
He says that, and he says that's that shift. He says and this is another reason, honestly, what in me kind of like started the spark for the podcast, because it hit me so hard. He said, if people in communities can ask more questions, instead of the us against them, ask questions why they love what they love. And this is kind of like, thank you. That's really where it started, from the Dalai Lama. Because
shout out to the Dalai Lama.
For the Dalai Lama. Yes. Because I was like, I see so much. I see the need for community, because we're searching. We don't want to, our nature is to not be alone, especially in the world of the internet where we're so scattered. We're no longer living on farms. Like, I grew up on a farm. So this is like literally, I grew up on a farm with my cousins, my grandpa, all my family. And then I go into the world. It's like, oh, you are separated, especially in LA. You're the perfect example. You live in Bangkok, Thailand. You're originally from, Kentucky. It's absolutely.
We don't say Kentucky. I don't want people knowing I'm from there. We say Tennessee. Olivia. God, we're gonna have to edit that part out. Jesus.
It's from Tennessee. I can. Blah, 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 blah. And we have Cody from Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee. Yeah,
Tennessee.
sweet.
We have Cody from Tennessee. But like we get all scattered and then it's like we lose our sense of the people that just know us, the things like that just like all the things that we don't have to explain about ourselves that everyone just knows. And so
Right.
you're searching for your people. You're searching for some, and I think that's what gets us locked into these specific groups. But then
Yeah.
we go from, and he said, we go from being so grateful that we're not alone to then the gratitude turns to us against them, we're better.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
says it's that switch. And he says if people can start having conversations where they ask more questions and get curious about people, we can hopefully make that less and the world can become a more curious space, a more happier space. And it's not, and they can enjoy, the power that comes from community can keep growing versus becoming something dangerous to which we've
Right.
seen in the world where, like you've said, this is us, no one else. If you don't agree with me, you're out. And then it just creates these big dividers and you miss out on these conversations. You miss out
Yeah,
knowing
dude.
who's the person on the other side of the wall that you've put a wall up and gone, we have nothing in common because of this
Right.
one thing we decided.
Right.
And yet they may be the most hardcore Sesame Street fan. And
Right.
in you have a whole bunch of Sesame Street things in your room and you're missing out on this human being that you guys would
So
connect. And
that's
you
the
missed
issue
out.
is that
You missed out on a human.
it creates echo chambers.
Yeah.
And we only hear our own voice. I mean, that's why it's called an echo chambers, because we only hear what we believe, what we think, our own voice. And that kills creativity.
Yeah.
Like I've said it before, I'm a Christian who writes erotic horror. That is an oxymoron.
Yeah.
I actually realized that's why I use a pen name, because I don't care if my pen name goes to hell, but I want to go to heaven. So that's why,
Yes,
that's why I use a pen name.
oh my
So,
God.
yeah, I need to
Okay,
put that
that
on
is
social media. I haven't done that yet, but
my pen name may go to hell, but but Cody Redd's going
exactly.
to heaven.
So, but my point is that like if I was to stay in my echo chamber,
Yeah.
I would not have just written a 646-page book because I wouldn't have that creative spark and that inspiration that lives inside of me for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And it's just like if I only listened to K-pop, I would get no. And this is what my video was about that I posted on my YouTube channel. It's like if I listened only to K-pop, I would get no creative spark from it whatsoever. I realized this during my video the other day. I get nothing creative from. I love it. The girls are pretty. Like the dancing is cool. The music is awesome. The beat is fantastic. I get nothing creative from it whatsoever. Zero. But when I become FC Marrow and I put those shoes on and I switch over into writing mode, and this we talked a tiny little bit about this a few weeks ago. When I switch into FC Marrow writing mode, I start listening to like symphonic metal and bands like Camelot and Epica and Delane is one I really like. Nightwish. Now these bands create heavy metal, but they're also very poetic lyrically. Like I sent you one. It was I can't think of the name of it. It was the Camelot song. It's like Wasteland Monarchy. That's what it's called.
Yes.
And
no, I know the band Camelot. Yeah.
Would you pray if I said that you were dying?
Yes.
Like I wouldn't get that. I wouldn't get those lyrics from K-pop. So when I listened to that song, would you pray if I said you were dying? Would you be a little stronger or fall down on your knees? Immediately, I get a creative spark. I'm immediately inspired by that song. And it's got a line that says, whisper, whisper in the dark. Or no, it says mirror, mirror. No, it's whisper, whisper. Whisper, whisper in the dark. Tell me what you see. Poisoned by your fly-infested poetry. Like
damn,
that kind of lyrical, like that poeticism, there's so much to it that is just an immediate creative spark. And I don't get that from K-pop. And if I stuck to that echo chamber, that K-pop, like I love K-pop. I got the cards right here on my desk. Yeah. Like I love K-pop, but creatively it does zero for me. It does nothing. I get nothing out of it creatively. I get no inspiration. I get no sparks. I get to see pretty girls. I get to listen to cool music. I get to watch awesome dancing, but creatively, nothing. I switch a Camelot song on. I switch a Nightwish song on.
Yep.
I switch another band I listened to a lot recently is Amaranth. They've got this cyberpunk fantasy sound to their music. dude. Like I've
Have
been,
you ever listened to In This Moment?
oh yeah, I love In This Moment. Their song Big Bad Wolf is one of my
Yes,
favorites.
that's my favorite. That's my, yeah.
I
I
love
was just,
that. Yeah.
that's
That's one of my that's one of my gym jams.
oh, that's
I love it.
mine. I was just gonna say,
Twinsies. Dude,
I was just gonna say, I don't listen to that. I'm not typically. I don't want to say I don't because I obviously do, but
right.
Big Bad Wolf. In This Moment,
It inspires you
is-
in some way.
it's what gets my rage out when I need to run because I'm terrified of running. I have this whole thing around running, and even when David and I used to start running, and if he was too far ahead of me, I'd go into like a panic attack because I was like, I'm gonna be left behind. I had this whole association with running and being chased. We've talked about this.
Mhm.
In This Moment was the especially the Big Bad Wolf was that rage that helped me go fuck you to whatever is chasing me. I got this.
Right.
You can't, these chains can't break me. Oh my God. I'm just like,
Right.
and I just
I
like,
mean,
I would rage that song. And that's what would get me through the running because it'd get me in this rage of like, fuck this.
Nothing can fuck with me.
Nothing can fuck with me. I'm okay.
Yep.
That Tech Nine is another from Tech Nine's for like regular workouts. I
like Tech Nine too. Even
I'm
though
just
I'm
like,
not a rap guy, I love Tech Nine.
no, I'm like, I absolutely that's the only rapper that I'm just like, oh, Tech Nine. Like it got me on this kick. But creatively, when I need to like go into creative zone, it's always classical music. I need
I understand
instrumental. And it's
Yep.
just, I go straight into like I can't have words. When I'm writing,
I can't
having
have words either.
someone else's words in my head
Yep.
makes me, I'm like, no, you're altering, you're now affecting, I need to go into a sense of state. So a lot of the times if I'm working or whatever, like David, he is like listening to hardcore, he's listening to the rock, he's listening to all this stuff. And I'm like, he's like, you're over there listening to this classical piano, like not even classical music, just piano, instrumental, something very, very calming. And he's like, I go to sleep. And I'm like, but that's what gets my brain into that space. So I don't, that's what's so cool. It's like, you can't seeing these things match those different moods. And that's what's so beautiful about art and creativity and why I think when we start putting artists and creatives in blocks and boxes and going, hey, you only can draw inspiration from this, or what's your niche? And I understand where people are going, hey, what are you known for?
Right.
But a lot of these actors and artists get pigeonholed because they're like, oh, they're known for this thing. Because the community's so big around it that they're going, oh, if you're in this niche has 2 million or 4 billion people or whatever it is that are in that, then you can capture them. So it's all about the numbers. But yet as humans, in our daily lives, we're not that. It's business makes us niche down and makes us go, you have to do this, you have to be this, so we can make money off of you. That is the business aspect. I understand it. It is the way the world works. But David and I have said so many times, business is not natural to humans. Community is natural to humans. Sharing storytelling is natural to humans. Sitting around a campfire and passing down to generation and sharing those different aspects of us, passing down medicine, passing down stories, passing down art, passing down all those things. That's natural to us. Community is natural to us. Business makes us, politics, religion, those things makes you go, I am only one thing. I'm only this. And it separates people and it takes away from the community. And that's why like the podcast is like, listen, we're not here to judge. We're not here to anything. And we're going to wrap here. But it's like, it is all about, that's why we're diving into why people love what they love, because it's bringing us all together. That on this podcast, if we can show with Cody and I going, hey, we're many things, and you can bring those aspects of yourself and connect with someone here and find community in this space where it's like, there is no judgment to talk about why you love what you do, because you're not just one. You don't have to be just one thing. When it comes to your business, do whatever, listen, I understand that. If you're trying to sell your art, that it is hard. As an artist and a creative, that is the hardest thing, because what made your product amazing is not going to be the same thing that makes it amazing to sell. So you literally are having to change your whole makeup as an artist to go, now I have to niche down and focus and be one thing And it's very scary. It's very hard because that's how business has made it be. And a lot of artists have that. That's why they have managers. That's why they have people and teams going, hey, I'm going to teach you the marketing. I'm going to teach you this, because now it's narrowing down. And but that's not where creation starts. That's not where humanity thrives. We thrive in all aspects of us sharing with people and creating an environment where everyone's welcome. And
that's what Fanward's for.
That's what Fanward's for.
Shameless
100%.
plug. There's my Mick Foley shameless plug.
Your
You're a
Mick
wrestling
Foley.
fan, you know what that means. You're not a wrestling fan like Olivia. You don't know what that means. But
I'm a fan of wrestling fans.
Ooh, curveball.
I'm a fan of Cody. And everyone.
That is acceptable because
yes, you're awesome.
Cody.
But yes, honestly, guys, like, it's just drop in the comments. We want to know what inspires you. We know just getting to know you and creating that community where there's a space where we can get to know people from all around the world and hopefully meet your new best friend in the comments. And that honestly would be the coolest thing ever, to be able to hear, like, in 2 years, 3 years, someone go, oh, I met in the Fanward Podcast comments. Like, that would be
sick, actually.
Dude, that would be fucking sick. And when it happens, please.
And then we can have them on our show.
Oh my goodness, please let it happen. It's like those stories where you see two kids, meet, like, people, someone says, I want to randomly meet my hero. And they, like, there was that, oh my God, I saw the reel the other day. It was this famous tennis player, and the kid 10 years ago had an interview with him, and he says, please don't retire, because one day I want to play against you. 10 years later, the kid is playing against him.
That's dope.
And I'm like, that's what I want. I'm like, I want to see someone come to us and be like, I watched the podcast. I met my friend in the comments, met my wife, met my husband, met my partner.
I mean, dude, I would, my heroes growing up were the Power Rangers, and now I work with them.
That's 100% true. Yes. We were on a call with Austin the other day, and you're like, Austin,
yeah, we were on a Zoom real quick. I know we got to cut, but real quick, the other day we were on a Zoom call, and legit, Austin remembered my name. Like, he was my childhood. How cool is that shit? I used to lie to kids on the school bus telling him he was my cousin just for clout. And now he remembers my name.
Yeah. He 100% knows who you are.
I told those kids. I told them.
Yes, he is your cousin.
My ass now.
Fuck you, little motherfuckers. I'm just kidding.
I hated school, and I hated every single one of them. I hate them all.
For all of you on the bus that are watching this.
Yeah, all of y'all.
He hangs out with Austin St. John.
McLean County. Yeah, all y'all.
Algorithm, please take this video to McLean County.
For all 6 people who
YouTube, do your work and find all those kids. No, that's not creepy. Anyways, just, make it known. Make it known. Let this message go out to the universe. And if you find us, put in the comments that Cody is cool.
Jesus.
All right, guys, that's a wrap. Thank you guys so much. And this has been fucking awesome, because you guys are fucking awesome. That's it.
Yep. Peace.
Peace.